Shut up and let me enjoy this pain.
Welcome to the pain zone. It's where we live.
When I'm hurt, I love it. I love that feeling because it's real.
You need to love pain.
Be the guy who embraces the ugly, the miserable. Be the guy who embraces hard work, the grind. Don't be afraid of being hurt. Don't be afraid of sacrificing some blood.
Everything else, happiness could be fake, crying could be fake, but pain? Shit. That's real.
However, mentally, physically, love it. You need to love it. If not, stay where you are.
That's right, guys. Pleb Underground Roundtable is back, Ulric.
You know, the funny thing about that video is that
Relevant.
it's still relevant. And that video, you know, Carl Menger came out, dropped that maybe 2 weeks ago. And it's like, and should we play it or not? And it's like, look at the price that they were showing that we just recovered from that. So while we feel good, again, I have that theory, as we go up, it's not about Bitcoin like the price, it's about the change in price. Because we're going up, you feel good. But if you're stagnant, it doesn't matter if you're stagnant at 250, you feel poor.
It's the perception.
I don't make the rules.
Yeah, no, exactly. And it's the perception, right? Let's be honest, you know, like that video taken from 2 weeks ago. It's like, oh, the drop from 126K. Yeah, but the bounce from 98 though, right? Am I? Anyways, yeah. All right. So of course we've got a whole lot of by the way, Humble Bitcoiner supposed to be possibly joining us later on. So for now, it is just Ser Ulric and I. We are going to dive into all of the relevant topics. We're going to dive into some Hopium. We've got obviously lots of charts. We've got some random bullish predictions to make everybody happy. We've also got some Copium. We've got some fails. Ulric did some polls again. So we are going to, we're going to pull those up, see how people feel about that stuff. A whole lot of topics, guys. Endless paper Bitcoin. NGU is for everyone. Scammers beware. Core versus not. Samourai update. And of course, right, we're going to talk about El Salvador as well. But first, show some love to the Pleb Underground sponsor. And we are going to be right back to dive into all the fun. Here we go. Pleb Underground is sponsored by Archimedes Emporium. Discover the pinnacle of precision engineering, starting with their Bitcoin logo wall clock, meticulously machined in Maine from a solid block of aerospace-grade aluminum, ensuring unparalleled durability and performance. Experience the difference of a product made without compromise. Head on over to Archimedes Emporium. Okay, let's dive right into it here. So, this guy posts some pretty solid Hopium, I have to say. Some base takes as well. Anyways, Matthew Hyland, right? BTC monthly closes. Monthly Bollinger Bands have reached the most extreme levels in Bitcoin's entire history. It's funny, I'm also going to be talking about this tomorrow. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just talk about it now. But I like it. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of the Bollinger Bands tightening, okay, and all of that stuff. So essentially, right, just kind of think of it as Bitcoin's price ranges, right? As these price ranges narrow, they kind of form there's this band that forms outside of it, right? That kind of essentially shows the narrowing or the widening of the prices, right? So as that narrows, usually what that indicates is the narrower it becomes, the more likely we are to have an outsized move to either the upside or the downside. When I say outsized, it has to do with traditional markets, but traditional markets usually anticipate when you have like really, really tightening Bollinger Bands, okay, it's usually 20% up or 20% down. But again, it's astrology. It's astrology for men.
Is this so is that basically consolidation?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like that's what it is, right?
It's measuring consolidation, right?
That's it. Like the Bollinger Bands give you an idea. When they get too wide, you can't expect miracles. But when they tighten up like that, that's usually when
something's going to happen.
Exactly. Right? Turbo Glazer in the house. What's happening, man? Yeah. I'm a big fan. Do you ever use the Bollinger Bands on your charts?
I feel like maybe we had discussed this before, but I felt like there was a certain there's a certain indicator that I brought up to you, but you said it had to have another parameter. I want to say it was Bollinger Bands. That like the other parameter had to be relevant. Again, I'm more of a psychological investor than a TA person. But do you remember what we were talking about?
I mean, it could have been volume. It could have been volume along with that. It could have been also the RSI. I mean, look, everybody has.
It's probably the RSI. That's right. Yeah.
Everybody has like kind of like their own sprinkling of astrology tools that they like to pull out. That's confirm their biases, right, or confirm our biases.
It's funny. In my most recent video, which by the way, got throttled with impressions. I have to make sure I choose my proper wording. For those who didn't even, I talked to J-Dub yesterday, and he said, I didn't even know you've released anything. And I get every single notification. So some people were throttled with my most recent, or some people did not see the throttled video from Pleb Underground. Check it out. My most recent video that I dropped this week. But I said exactly what you said, Phil, that this TA tends to be astrology for men, or male astrology. I'm sorry. Yeah, male astrology. And it's like, it's we found a correlation, we found a trend, and sometimes it serves us, but sometimes we focus in so much on that thing that we develop natural blind spots that cause us to make mistakes.
So is it over?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you. Do you think it's over? Because I mean, obviously, we're going to pull up a whole bunch of hopium that indicates that it's not over, and I obviously don't think it's over. But you think it's over?
No, I'm just playing. We have a ways to go. Again, I've been saying all these things, and we'll probably talk about it. There's so many macro things that are going on. I think the tariffs in the spring really shocked the overall market, and anything that was supposed to happen, I think we get an extra 3 to 5 months of that stuff, whatever it's supposed to be.
All right, so it sounds like you don't think it's over. You know what? You know who else doesn't think it's over? Max Kaiser. Anyway, I mean, nobody's surprised here, but this is kind of funny, right?
Projections have been over for about 5 years, but let's keep going.
They have. So yeah, will Bitcoin shatter the 150K on November 12th? So I got to tell you, we've got 2 days. We've got 2 days to get. I mean, there's 67.67% chance. Is it safe that that people are offloading more and more of their decision making to prediction markets and AI? Like, are you at all getting concerned?
Because someone can easily kind of short the AI algorithm and kind of play 4D chess with that thing. And so yeah, it's bad when everyone's using the same strategy to make decisions, which is why we all need our different TA. So yeah, if it's scary to think that everyone's going to be relying on that one thing. Buyer beware.
Yeah, I don't know the prediction markets. I'm seeing way too many people relying on these things and thinking that they matter. The masses, right? What's in that word? Masses.
How about this one from Mr. Business? Where has he come up with this? Going back.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm so tired of those projections. Guess what? He comes up with it because people eat it up. And I don't know who these people are. I don't know if they're bots. I don't know if they're just hero worshipers, but it's the sloppiest of slop. And I just wish that I could see one of those super influencers like lose 50,000 or 100,000 subs one day because people are just fed up with the nonsense. But
yeah, I'm never gonna see that.
We love heroes. We love heroes, and forever. And the next person that comes into the space, guess what they're coming in for? They're coming in because they're bringing their fiat brain with them, which is, I need a hero to worship. And they're like, oh, here's the guy. I don't know how long it takes to wash yourself of that kind of mindset, but obviously we have a bunch of Bitcoiners that are still obsessed with what these, as Natalie Brunel said, A-list Bitcoiners have to say about Bitcoin. And for the most part, they're wrong, and they're trying to steer you wrong. So more buyer beware.
Yeah, I agree. Sorry, I'm just getting a link for Mr. Business.
Yeah,
he likes your shirt.
Oh,
he likes your Chocolate Pleb shirt.
I liked it too. I was like, oh yes, I think I got the last one, Phil. Was it
No,
the
well, I
last
mean,
one that
you
you
can
had
get
in that
them,
stack?
well, you can get them at proofofink.com, because that's where that's who does all of our clothing.
Yep,
So,
that's right.
yeah, all of our stuff is there. But yeah, the legend of the taco plebs. People in this cycle don't care about it so much. This cycle, we've got the pleb army and stuff like that. But
The pleb army? You mean the Bitcoin army?
sorry, the Bitcoin army. But
Yeah.
back in
What
my
a weird group of zombies, man. I don't know what they are,
Taco
but
plebs.
and why do they all have fake, like all their especially the leaders, all their profiles are like like AI versions of themselves, and it doesn't look at all like what they truly are. And I guess that's maybe
I
people
guess
are
that's
anonymous.
style.
My image looks like me, but a lot of these people, like, they kind of look like
It
the
doesn't.
super version, like the supermodel version of them, the superhero version of themselves. I'm like, dude, like, just own who you are. It's kind of weird. Or be be yellow, just be a stuffed animal. Like, why you have to like fudge who you are? It's kind of a weird cope. Makes me short the Bitcoin army.
Okay, so
Sorry.
hold on a second here. We're getting a solid question here from BTC
Uh-oh.
Moon Guy. Yeah, this is, what year is the pleb cutoff? That is a good question, right? Damn. I would like to say that the hodlers that came on board last cycle. I mean, technically it's any commoner, right? Like any common person that decides to stack Bitcoin for themselves. Like that's really what it is. So,
Yeah.
like but in terms of like, the pleb cutoff, there was an era of the pleb, right? And I would say that was 2 cycles ago. Like the 2017-2018 cycle, like gave birth to what is, what has become the plebs. Like that was the first move of, the desire to push back against influencers and a lot of the bullshit rhetoric that they were stuffing down people's throats. So
Yeah.
and it all started as a troll, as most things do in Bitcoin, right? It starts as a troll. So yeah.
I mean, it's a pleb
All right,
cutoff
here we go.
really 2025, because like I think I don't think there's any full pleb cutoff per se, based on the
Right?
the description that you gave, Phil. But I'd say as the years go on, it's almost like a halving, and the halving may happen every year.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's
there's always
just
less.
for every, let's just say for every 100 Bitcoiners, maybe back in 2018, maybe half of them were plebs.
Oh
or,
yeah.
or 75% of them, maybe. But maybe in 2020, maybe 30% of them were, and maybe in 2022, maybe it shrinks to 10. And then now you get to 2025, maybe the pleb cutoff isn't 2025. Maybe it's just so small that it's like for every 100 Bitcoiners, maybe one guy, gets it. So
Yeah.
I think it'll just continually get smaller and smaller, because Bitcoin will expand and become more general audience, and therefore a lot of normies will come into Bitcoin. Guess what? When the NFL player is talking at the Bitcoin conference again, and then when the video game creator or the next CEO, and it's like, and all those people have people who worship him. I don't know. I just feel like there's a large demographic of people who have the GFY, if you will, or the like, I'm my own person. But even so, I thought I was my own person when I came in the 2020 timeframe, when I stopped with the cryptocurrency. And then it's like, I thought I was my own person. Then it's like, oh my gosh, like I'm learning all this stuff. And it's like, oh wow, history this and history that. So it's like you kind of learn how much you have to learn when you kind of go down that rabbit hole.
That's right. You get exposed to known unknowns, right? You become aware. Like that's really what it, and that's that's kind of part of wisdom, right? Essentially the more you grow in wisdom, the more you become aware of all the things that you do not know. Although you totally understand that you don't know them, the point is the awareness of them, and that awareness is usually quite humbling.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of awareness, one more time with Mr. Business, and we've mentioned Saquon before, running back to the Eagles. But yeah, it's like he came in 21, dropped all his rookie contract bonus money there, and he's a multi-millionaire.
Yep.
He's assuming he's still on that same path, and he hasn't dumped his Bitcoin or traded it for like some sort of Solana scam. Guess what? He's a pleb. Rich pleb, but there are a lot of rich plebs out there, and at some point we're all going to become rich plebs.
It's not about net worth or any of that stuff. It really just has to do, I think, with like I said, right, just being a normal, humble person, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And that's really what it is. You're not trying to be an influencer or anything like that. I know it sounds hypocritical because I do a podcast, but not.
The influence comes. For what reason?
Talking about Bitcoin, like there's some people genuinely like they craft all of their tweets, they craft all of their content in order to project that intelligence, project whatever it is that it is trying to project. And it's fantastic, right? To each their own. I'm just saying that's not our shtick, and that's why I'll always consider myself a pleb. But yeah, anyways. Okay, I don't know. We went on this rant down the pleb thing, but we didn't actually mean to. And I meant to address what BTC Moon Guy was saying. Pleb era was 2015, 2035, decade of the pleb. Yeah, I mean,
the decade. Now
right?
We've expanded decade to 20 years.
Look,
that's a score, my friend.
Okay, but like to his point, you're still gonna stack. Like I'm still gonna stack. I'm still stacking. You're still stacking. Like for me, there's no better savings vehicle than Bitcoin. So it's not like all of a sudden it's like, okay, that's it. I'm switching this over. Like, yes, indeed, there are plenty of people we've seen in the space who have entirely done that, right? They've gone from, we love Bitcoin. Now they've put on the suits and they love stonks. That's to each their own.
Oh, BTC Moon Guy corrected himself. It was 2015 to 2025. My bad. And second of all, that reminds me, there is a poll that I just released before the show. You guys go to the general YouTube channel, check out the posts, and drop your vote for the most recent question. I want to see what you guys answer at the end of the show.
Okay, so we're not going to make it very far right now because we're having a better conversation about pleb culture.
What do you say?
So he's saying, then must the pleb cohort grow or not shrink in order for Bitcoin to survive? I mean, in all fairness, Bitcoin's going to be just fine, right? The Bitcoin immune system activates when it needs to. And what I mean by that is that back in that particular era, in terms of social narratives, that is what was needed, right? That like we, a lot of us started to push back on all of these narratives out of necessity. Like we were just like, no, this is wrong and you've been lying, and here's why. And that was kind of, again, it did its job, and then when the job was finished, it cooled off. And unfortunately, what did happen though is that a lot of the people who were plebs at that time did decide to step into the world of influencer, and so a lot of those people did become this cycle's kind of influencers. So it's interesting.
Yeah,
the way that works.
This cycle's trappings, if you will, and that's
eventually we're gonna get to mud wrestling. Don't worry. Sorry,
I have no idea what that's about.
He always asks for the mud wrestling. I think this is from like a few years ago, and eventually, don't worry, the mud wrestling is coming, but just
eventually.
It's okay. I'm just like, it's like a politician, right? You make promises you can't keep,
or like wins or supply shock, right? Yeah.
Oh.
Mud wrestling equals supply shock. All maxis are plebs, but not all plebs
are maxis.
All maxis are plebs. See, are there people out there who are very, very Bitcoin only, yet still not a pleb? Like, I don't think that there needs to, like, there are people out there who are very Bitcoin maximalists, but at the same time, they may they may be suit coinerish. So like if they only touch Bitcoin, but they're kind of like corporate finance bro type, are they plebs? I don't think so. Based on my definition of a pleb, that could be. But guess what? The suit coiner probably calls himself a pleb, and I think
someone know that does.
I think there's some that think they're.
I mean, there's got to be some, right? I'm just saying I haven't seen any that do. So.
Yeah, because being a pleb is like, that's a badge of honor. It's like, hey, I'm one of the guys, even though, and you could say that about yourself, but maybe the guys don't think that of you, and maybe they're also too scared to say that out loud because they may be found out or they may be called out. But I think a lot of people who are not plebs think that they are plebs. That's the best I can say. And do you have to be a maxi to be a pleb as well? Like, are there people who are like, what is the definition of a maxi? Is it Bitcoin but no crypto, or is it Bitcoin only and no equities, no any other type of financial investment or vehicle? I think these communities could kind of derail us from what the intent is, and the intent is to preserve our value and to not let anyone mess with it. And those are and people are going to pursue that different ways.
Yeah. Comments are rolling in here.
Glad that we're having this conversation.
Yeah, Gen X of Bitcoin there's so many. You know what? It's kind of funny. The Gen X is in Bitcoin. It's the same thing as in life. I'm not the only one that calls us this, but the forgotten generation, and that is exactly what it is. And just like in Bitcoin, it's the same thing. In Bitcoin, it's the same thing. You've got. They talk about boomers, and right away they speed down to millennials. It's like the Gen X's don't even exist. Matt, absolutely agreed. F the suits. Yeah, I agree.
I like wearing suits.
I don't. For me, man, I told you this. We had this discussion. For me, suits are weddings and funerals. That's it. I get it that people like wear it to work and stuff like that, but I don't wear it to work. The symbolism of the suit to me, it's like I for some reason, it's gonna sound terrible, but I always find it as like you're putting on a costume to bullshit somebody, right? So because you're not gonna dress as a clown to sell them a car, right? Because they're not going to believe you. But if I put on this suit, right now, I put on this costume, and all of a sudden, right, you see how well I can put on this costume, and that is going to somehow confer some level of trust. And it's just fucking weird, man. It's this weird social signaling that we do, and it just bothers me so much.
Okay,
but I mean, obviously you have to wear clothes.
Here's a question for Phil, guys. Here's a question for Phil. Y'all know my background. I'm worked with Swan half a year. Let's just say that the hybrid suit coiner pleb Corey Clipston comes around and says, "Hey, we want Pleb Underground to do the news desk for a half a day at the Swan conference of 26, assuming it comes back." What is Phil wearing? Is Phil wearing a suit? And another question: is Ulric wearing a suit?
Yeah. Ulric's gonna look spiffy as fuck. I'm gonna give it right there. Ulric is gonna look super good, and I'm not gonna
wear a Taco Pleb shirt. No, here's what I'm gonna wear. I'm gonna wear the Taco Pleb shirt with the blazer. That's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna sport it up a bit,
and Matt's exactly right. The uniform of uniformity. I completely agree. It's just so it's so
no tie, man. No
it's
tie.
It's meant to take away your creativity. It's meant to take away your individuality. All uniforms are. All of this is meant to strip you of individuality. It's such. Anyways, okay. All right, we're done. We're done. You can see, like, next topic. Done with the suits. Okay. All right, you know what? Let's watch hold on a second here. Comment from UCP. The irony of freeing Ross Ulbricht is that the community in some way lost the cause to fight for. Truth. That's a good point. And now we're sitting here with paper Bitcoin and stonks and total nonsense.
Oh, the captain hat. That's right, Turbo. The captain hat always comes out at conferences. I just haven't been to one since that last one in Tennessee.
Playa, I'm a Gen X, where I'm not that young. Ulrich is the young one here.
I'm not that much younger than you.
I always think you are, though. Oh God. Okay. All right. Sorry, guys. We're gonna keep on. We're gonna keep on keeping on, and let's
Keep
watch.
on keeping on.
Here we go. We got some. Where's a good Hopium video? Okay. You know what? This. I wanted to make this our intro video, but we couldn't because it was too long. But I feel that it touches a nerve with Bitcoiners. Here we go.
The Bitcoin chart?
Yeah, just the hardest asset in the world. Why?
Well, I was looking at it, and over the past 5 years, NVIDIA has actually outperformed it.
Well, okay, zoom out further. What about the last 10 years, buddy?
So I looked at that too, and actually, NVIDIA's slightly outperformed Bitcoin over 10 years.
Zoom out further! What about this? Okay, all time. When was the last time since Bitcoin's inception? Bitcoin's up 173,000%. I'd like to see Jensen Huang outperform that.
Well, NVIDIA's been around for a lot longer, and obviously IPO'd at a higher price than Bitcoin initially traded at. So
First of all, the only reason NVIDIA is pumping adults because they got Donald Trump by the balls, and they're bribing the administration to get their AI chips. Hey, find my AI chips. Second of all, how many AI companies do you know? I can name 1,700 of them. How many hard assets can you name?
Well, sure, but I mean, NVIDIA's head
Just
and shoulders.
one! Just one! Oh, yeah, you think when we go to Pluto and we're interacting with aliens, where are we going to take the plutonium that we're harvesting from this planet? We're going to put it into Bitcoin. We're not going to go to aliens and go, hey, wow, that's a really cool spaceship you got there. Do you take NVIDIA stock in exchange for it? No. We're going to say, wow, that new engine that you have that's really innovative, I'm going to give you some Bitcoin for it. Does that make sense to you?
We're probably like 700 or 800 years away from being able to realistically go to Pluto.
Oh! So you think you're not going to live forever, huh? The only thing that's going to outlive you is Bitcoin. It's Bitcoin, the hardest asset known to man freaking kind, man. God, I think sometimes you're just freaking crazy, man. Sometimes I think you're crazy and you don't understand Bitcoin, the hardest currency in the world.
I gotta tell you,
I've never seen that, so you shocked the heck out of me with that one. That was good.
I mean, there was no lies detected, minus the. I mean, I obviously do not have that level of energy by any of the expanse of the imagination, but that is probably one of the biggest reasons why there's less Bitcoiners than there could be, because many conversations absolutely go down that road.
You know, I did take a bet that Bitcoin would outperform NVIDIA at the beginning of 24. But it was like a gentleman's bet, and I ended up losing, and he forgot about it. But guess what? They both win. I don't know. And at some point, Bitcoin will outperform it, I think.
So this kind of goes back to the point of understanding Bitcoin's qualities, understanding the trade-offs. Like think about it, dude. You know, if you're just in there and you're just like in it for the tech, and you just, you know, you want to bet on the next biggest thing and all that good stuff, hey, that's fantastic. There's a whole world of that type of stuff for you.
That's right.
But if you want specific qualities like censorship resistance and decentralization and immutability and all that, well, guess what? You're going to want to hold Bitcoin, right? And it's that simple. So I get it, right? But at the same time, it just has to do with what it is that you actually want to be holding and which qualities you believe are going to carry better into the future. And
that's right.
For me, it's Bitcoin's qualities that I'm betting on that are going to carry into the future. So, you know, it's, hey, there's no CEO, and believe me, that means a lot. It means a lot to me, I'll tell you that much.
It's a form of it's a form of comfort, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
You know, I have no additional comment. Like, that's when you see the stuff, especially as a MicroStrategy holder, and seeing all the other MicroStrategy holders, especially the ones that came around during whatchamacallit, the Jeff Waltons and the Punter Jeffs and the other ilk of his in November. I'm like, you don't want to go down that path anymore. And it's like, you know, you're either early or you're losing. And the CEO took that change. And you just can't win with MicroStrategy. If the goal is, guess what? If your only goal for MicroStrategy is to collect wealth, is to make money, and he keeps on making it so that you have to give him more so that you can get more. That CEO is not the same guy as back in 2020. He's obviously taken some sort of fiat pill and guess what? He probably always was, and it was a good salesman. And so I think it's a perfect use case where it's like, if you can't trust the Michael Saylor CEO, you really can't trust any of them, because that type of stuff is ingrained for them to get rich at the expense of you. And guess what? Maybe some of them will serve you a little better, but they all have that in them. And we all have that in us because we're no better than our incentives, quoting my co-host right here. Bitcoin has no ruler, and therefore it kind of operates just by the whim or the will of the invisible hand of the free market.
Yep. Can't buy Steak and Shake with MSTR.
Oh my gosh, I am so sorry. I got retraction, chairman of MicroStrategy. Apologies.
That's right. That's right. He's no longer the CEO.
We're going to get canceled.
Yeah.
Impressions.
They don't know their stuff. They don't know their stuff. That's okay. All right. So speaking of which, more Hopium. That's right. We're still sitting in the Hopium here. We haven't even made it out of the Hopium. Okay.
We'll have to abbreviate our responses.
Yeah. All right. So we've got another video here. This one is who is this? Some CEO of something. Anyways, it's bullish though. It's bullish. Here we go.
CEO.
There's a good chance that central banks and sovereign wealth funds will start to get more aggressive in adopting Bitcoin, not only as a store of value, but also as a medium exchange. So this year, the Czech Republic, the governor of the central bank there, has initiated a study to analyze Bitcoin for inclusion in their central bank reserves. And then just this week, Russia did a trade with China, partially denominated in Bitcoin, beginning to really use Bitcoin for the first time as a medium of exchange. And that's not for individuals buying coffee, that's for large-scale transactions where countries are using Bitcoin as an intermediary currency to do, say, an oil trade. And in that scenario where Bitcoin-denominated trade could be, say, 5% of global trade, we get to a $3 million price per Bitcoin. That's a long-term prediction, like 2050. But that's going to be necessary, we think, to elevate Bitcoin into the millions per coin.
I mean, come on.
There's so much here. There's so much here. The first thing, the two interviewers looking like they were so attentive and so cared about. Oh my gosh, like so interesting.
Yeah, we don't even know this guy's name.
It's like those people were so fake. Like a classic actor, a classic actor is a mile away. Second of all, where's the big news brief on Russia use? That would be kind of a big news.
Right?
Big news if you know that Russia made a deal with China for oil in Bitcoin, then everyone else would probably know as well, and that would be kind of in a news cycle, and it would be dropped by Safety and Swan and all these different platforms would be talking about that. So you're kind of selling me some smoke and mirrors on that one. Again, Bitcoin was always going to be a settlement layer. That's great, and I think that use case is realistic one day, but I don't see it happening right now. I hope don't see it. So it's just kind of like I always poo-poo on the Hopium fill because it's just like I rather just see the TA. Just show me Bitcoin bouncing off of that 50-week media EMA, and I'll be happy. That's my Hopium. these CEO guys, these CFO guys, they suck.
It's just so funny. So yeah, it is the Vanek guy. And it's interesting, right? Because all of a sudden, all these predictions for $3 million Bitcoins, we got Tom Lee, $3 million Bitcoin, Kathy Wood, $3 million Bitcoin, Vanek dude, $3 million Bitcoin. They all just get together. And anyways, it's also tiring. Speaking of tiring, we're gonna move it on over to take a look at some Copium. Here we go. Now it's gonna get. I'm just warning you. Now it's gonna get salty. So that's right, guys. That's right. This
just
is
when you think we couldn't get any more salty.
The pain zone. Long-term hodlers have offloaded 405,000 Bitcoin in the past 30 days. Look at that chart. I don't care. I don't care. I mean, were people like, what were they supposed to do with their Bitcoin, right? Like, why do I care what somebody who was holding Bitcoin 15 years ago is doing with it today?
Interesting you say that.
Right?
Did you see the responses to that post?
No.
Maybe I didn't. Maybe I think I sent them. You may have missed them. But Adam Back, and I would encourage people to go back and see what Adam Back said to that guy, because he called him out on essentially the definition of what a long-term holder is. When you hear Phil, his version of a long-term holder is like 45 to 60 days, bro. It's not even like you said 15 years. This guy says 60 days or even 30 days. Like, the definitions are completely screwed. That chart is so bad. Like, yeah,
I found it.
Great.
Yeah,
This is so funny. I was just, ACP. I was just about to ask what a long-term holder was. Adam Back asked the same thing, and he actually went through the charts to some other people pulled out better terminology. There it is right there.
You guys see it okay?
Yeah, let's zoom in a little bit. 155 days. I'm sorry. Not 60. I knew it was a 6. It was 6 months. There you go. So is that, what's that?
Look at that.
5 to 6 months? From Pleb.
155 days.
Is that a long-term holder to you? I'm sorry.
No.
That's day trading to me.
Those are paper hands.
That's paper hands.
What is that? 155 days. You don't even give yourself a chance.
Wow. They sold. I'm not surprised. We call that, we call those paper hands, not long-term holders. So it's just, and if you keep on going, and maybe I didn't give those to you, but there are other charts that kind of that took in the better parameters and showed that it wasn't really that big of a sell. So not only is this copium, but this is FUD. It's a lie, and it's what people do to get you to engage with them, to shock you, to shock and awe. I mean, it's a military tactic. They want to kill you. Simple as that. They want to kill your hope. They want to kill your dreams. They want you to sell your Bitcoin because you think the bear market is here. It's really toxic. And that's why you can't really trust any of these people that come on to this platform with their 5 figures and their 6-figure following. And it's like, oh, that's a signal. I remember Lynn Alden. I'm sorry to rant, but I remember Lynn Alden was responding to someone in a chat. And I'll never forget this because it really showed her character. She said to that person, oh, I don't really recognize what you're saying because I see your follow count, and the lower your follow count, basically the lower your signal. Could you imagine the nerve of that, whatever she is, saying that kind of stuff? I'm sorry, but these are the type of people that are in this community, in this industry, and it's up to the pleb underground to call them out, because if we don't, no one will.
That's a good point. Yeah, I remember that post, and it was cringe as fuck. I'm not gonna lie. That was like, that's
character revealing.
It's interesting, right? It's like, because especially like, because that was a clear punch down that didn't need to happen. Like, it's like you totally could have just dismissed this person without needing to punch down. Like, there were so many other. It was kind of.
If you DM me, Mr. Business, I'll send you the link. It's out there still, unless she deleted it.
Yeah, no, she doesn't usually delete stuff.
She it wouldn't matter, because like,
it was a nobody, right?
Water off. Yeah, it's a nobody.
Who are you? Who are you
on the bridge or whatever
on this platform?
That's right.
So yeah, I would say that chart itself is a cope all on its own, right? Because even the long-term hodler isn't that definition is just completely bogus. 155 days. That's just garbage.
We have links to all these in the show notes, right?
Oh yeah, obviously.
I encourage people especially to look at that one and look for Adam Back's reply, and then from that thread, from that thread, you will see all the different charts that actually show closer to what a long-term holder is, maybe a 12-month holder, maybe a 2-year holder. It doesn't go much further than that, but it shows that those people are, for the most part, holding firm.
Yep.
Exactly. A lot of them are like that. A lot of them, not just her.
No, that's right. Well, I can't be a hypocrite, right? Because I like Bitcoin, watch my content, right? So
of course,
right? It's tit for tat. So
yeah,
but
it's also regurgitating that we actually do like Bitcoin. And we're actually buy my newsletter that actually does talk about Bitcoin, or watch my show that actually does still talk about Bitcoin, not like my other things sponsored by that other group.
It's not a paid narrative about Bitcoin. That's the point.
That's right.
I think that's the point. So this one, I think you put this in. Yeah, orange is the color of November. I'll tell you though. I'll tell you.
It's not the color of MicroStrategy.
No. But I will say this: a lot of people. I'm going to talk about this tomorrow on the Daily Show, anyways, as well. But a lot of people are. I shouldn't say a lot of people, but I saw this tweet right from Pierre talking about Jim Chanos, right, closing his short.
He
right?
did.
You're short on MicroStrategy.
That's right.
So look, Jim Chanos closing his short on MicroStrategy means just as much as Michael, what's his name?
Michael Burry.
Michael Burry putting out a short on Nvidia and Palantir. He
did what?
Yeah, and it's totally fine. Like it's like I personally. I look at this stuff, and to think that it actually means anything for Bitcoin is nonsense. Number one. Number two, them closing out a short position, like it is a business that they run. They're running a business. The business is to make profit, and they don't make profit necessarily in extremes. They make profit in the middle. This is where all businesses end up making their money. So he had a zone, right? And that's it. The price reached that level. They made what they were looking for, and they closed the position out. That's right. Like he's not sitting there waiting for it to go to zero. Right. So it's like it's this weird mental framing, right? That like, oh, that's it. He closed his short. MSTR is going to the moon. Like, did their business change? Did all of a sudden has their business started to become operating cash flow positive?
Right.
Nope. Did they get more customers? Nope. Okay, so what changed? A guy closed his short. Anyways, I just
now the only now from the Hopium part of this is that when a name like Chanos closes his short, the little ducklings may follow as well. Because they're mirroring. It's like the Nancy Pelosi stock tracker. Like they monkey see, monkey do. So therefore, there could be some upward action for MicroStrategy, which of course everyone knows I would like to see happen. But look, MicroStrategy has been, and I'm going to be releasing a video about this in the next video, talking about all the treasury companies and summarizing their performance and summarizing also the people that were shilling them the most. And MicroStrategy has not done what they sold themselves to do. They have not outperformed Bitcoin. And if you can't outperform Bitcoin by holding Bitcoin, all you're doing is you're a mockery of whatever vision you're supposed to have. And so if you're not going to outperform in the alleged bull phase of the cycle, you're a joke. And people are when the people sell that joke, it's not even going to be funny anymore. It's going to be so pitiful. That bear market is going to be nasty for MicroStrategy. So
outperforming Bitcoin.
Yeah, that was the promise, and that's what all the shillers say. Like we absolutely think that it will outperform the price action or the price performance of Bitcoin. I tell you, it's done nothing of the sort.
I don't know why anyone would believe that you would outperform an asset by holding the asset. Like, he personally is outperforming other people. Anyways, a little more salt.
Bitcoin with other people's money.
That's right. A little more salt on the wound. This particular bull market is underperforming previous bull markets. Brought to you by Bitcoin, Power Curve, Cycle Cloud.
The top comment on this one, I love it. The top comment was like, "We're going underground." I was like, "Oh no!"
Now, look. In all fairness, like that account posts some pretty hardcore signal. But that's just funny stuff. It's like you take a look at that particular chart, and I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised when I see people that are a little bit newer to Bitcoin that haven't built up their conviction yet, that are like all of a sudden just paper handed, and thinking like that's it, it's over. Like that's But again, you got to zoom out, right? It's like from one day to the next, it changes. I think that people don't really, people don't really understand. And not only that, but what we're experiencing when you watch Bitcoin every single day, you're literally like you're swimming in the noise, right? Like you're like, this is what it is. Like daily price activity is noise. So
That's right.
Anyway, so that chart, it looks kind of crappy right now, but might not look crappy.
More hopium for that. If the theory that the tariffs and that macro impact kind of just phase shifted everything 4 or 5 months to the right, well, if you shift that chart to the right, maybe we hit that peak in December or January the way we were supposed to, and then all this panicking and this unsureness is all for nothing because Ulrich was right. I hope I am, but at the same time, I want to be accurate. That's it.
Right. Gotta quell the ego, and it's so tough, right? So many times, like I'm right, and it's like, damn it, that's not
right.
No, that's not the point.
But I do think that the tariffs kind of shook up the market, and all it did was keep people on the sidelines in terms of the standard liquidity cycles that we're used to from a equities and a Bitcoin perspective. And I think we're seeing us sneak back into bullishness for this Thanksgiving and Christmas. I hope.
Gen X asked, hold on a second here. I'm clicking things. They're not working. Does one dwell on the time they took making the chart versus buying Bitcoin? Yeah, I agree. Could have just stacked, right? Could have just stacked, and it would have been done. It would have been so much easier. Okay, we're done. You know what?
Yeah.
We're done messing with everyone's emotions, okay? No more Hopium, no more Copium. Now it's time to just crap on everything. All right, so anyway, so we've got this post here from Brecky. That's right. Brecky, I don't usually like to put anyone on blast like this, but I'm extremely upset and disappointed by what I'm seeing. No warning was given to Lolly users of upcoming changes, and no provision was made for said users to withdraw their Bitcoin rewards before such changes went into effect. Guys, if you don't know what he's talking about, Lolly was purchased by, I don't even remember which company. It doesn't even matter. But the TLDR is that in order to withdraw your sats, this used to be a Bitcoin rewards platform, right? They had one of the offerings that they had was an extension in your browser, and you could get Bitcoin rewards from shopping at places like Amazon, right? Which don't actually offer native Bitcoin rewards. That's pretty cool, right? That's pretty awesome. Well, it was awesome until they got taken over by some shitcoin company. And yeah, you've earned it. Now own it. None of that is true. We've partnered with Meso Network, and I swear to you, there was a video that actually it showed, right? It showed where the guy does the person does the transaction, and they're moving Bitcoin to a smart contract. So obviously, this is not Bitcoin. When I say smart contract, I'm not talking about a Lightning channel. I'm talking about like one of those 0x addresses, like clearly, an ETH address or whatever the hell it is. Anyways, it's freaking brutal. So there you go. All your Bitcoin rewards gone. You can't take them out, but you can take them out in this shitcoin that is freely issued and created. Yay. Lovely. Lots of fun, huh?
People always come up with new ways to take your Bitcoin from you, but guess what? It was never yours if you got it on a platform. And guess what? If you're gonna collect things, like I was a Fold user up until early 23. Like once they really started throttling the rewards, I was like, I'm out. But it's like I was there for the 5%, for Amazon. Then I even stuck around for the 2.5%. But I was taking those rewards off after about like 100,000 sats. I'm like, when you got a UTXO that's kind of legitimate, I'm like, okay, I'm out. But it's like, I'm not going to, if I lost 100,000 sats, especially back then when it was like nothing, I'm like, okay, that's not too bad. I can easily replace that. But for people who are probably, guess what? They're probably lazy about, getting their rewards off the platform. And then all of a sudden it's like, no, here, try my ETH chain, my ETH layer 2. It's like, no, you weren't being diligent in self-custodying in a systematic way. And it's like, I can't feel sorry for too many people like that.
I really, Just to wrap it up about Lolly, I just see it as a business that unfortunately somehow lost relevance in the space, right, in Bitcoin, and essentially nobody was using their product anymore. And let's be honest, people still have bills to pay, right? Everybody's got to eat, shelter over your head, all that good stuff. You got to do what you got to do, right? And obviously that their avenues seemed that there wasn't a Bitcoin path forward. So the only way to quote unquote save their business, to me, which is the big red flag, is you go in the direction of shitcoins where you can produce a token that you can dump on the market to keep the lights on. And it's just like, it's just another way of saying, what I do doesn't bring enough value, and I don't feel strongly enough about my mission. So, I'll take what I can get, and them's the scraps, right? I'll take the shitcoin scraps. Lolly, I'm sorry. That sucks. I remember when you guys came out, I thought it was super cool. I was using your product myself many years ago. But yeah, that's too bad. Anyways, okay, yeah, let's dive into some Coinbase shenanigans, because there are indeed some Coinbase shenanigans.
I think I dropped this one. And it's like basically to summarize what he did. He had what's his name? Armstrong had a speech. And normally Kalshi Polymarket, when someone big, Trump speaks, Brian Armstrong speaks, Jerome Powell speaks, they say, what are they going to say? And of course, there's odds on Bitcoin and crypto and Russia and all these different inflation. And so Brian Armstrong, after he was done speaking, someone handed him a list, and he basically started spouting off all the words on the betting market for Kalshi and or Polymarket. And so basically, I mean, it's not insider trading, but it's clear manipulation of betting markets. And yeah, they were part of an $84,000 betting market that all those random words were. And it was deliberate. Like, I mean, I didn't see it. I'm just reading, again, playing telephone here, but he just said the words at the end of the speech. So it wasn't like it was natural to what he was talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
But from a cryptocurrency world and culture, this again, which is another form of venture capitalism, which is Coinbase, both sides, venture capital, crypto. They don't see money. They don't see the honesty, the ethics of chance games per se as a problem. They say, hey, we manipulate. Why not? We're powerful enough. What are you going to do? Throw us in jail? We'll just lawyer up. These are the types of people that you just kind of have to guess what? Did he do anything illegal? He said words, Bitcoin is free speech. Guess what? He used his free speech right to say whatever he wanted to say. But I think this type of news is kind of just a warning. A warning. It's like, that's the guy who owns a platform that a lot of you keep your crypto on, that a lot of you keep your Bitcoin on. You may want to think twice about someone who would be willing to stoop that low, or to think that type of thing is a game. We saw what Sam Bankman-Fried was doing with his effective altruism. Let's take warnings. Let's take warnings for what they are. Don't just look at this. Oh, that's kind of stupid. Let's try to put on our ethics hat and say, is this a guy that I want to do business with? Be cautious.
Yeah, that was a pretty good story, though. I didn't realize that happened.
Yeah,
the whole Brian Armstrong thing. So yeah, nice find with that. But yeah, man, to your point, right? Like, this is how he ended the conference call. Like, it's a joke, right? Like it's a joke. I mean, if I had let's say a non-trivial amount of my wealth in Coinbase shares,
should be worried.
I would 100% be rethinking that decision. I mean,
what would he do to your shares where he has more control than a betting market? It's like, yeah, he may have told 5 of his friends, hey, I'm going to say this, it's going to be funny. It's like, go on, put some money, put $2,000, put $5,000 on Web3, bro. Watch this. What would he do to your shares when his incentives are, it's me versus you. And I got the most insider of the information. Like it's not a place we honest, just people who just want to try to get some money set aside so we can retire one day. Or guess what? Maybe we're already retired. We just want to preserve our wealth. Why would you want to be messing around with him? Unless you happen to get, coffee with him once a month. I wouldn't blame you. But, then we have to call into ethics and, it's just a sloppy environment. And what's sad is that there's a lot of Bitcoiners out there who still place that type of person on a pedestal. Even people that would consider themselves maxis. Maybe guess what? People say he's what would you call it? Net positive.
Oh yeah.
It's not a game. No, it's not net positive.
Yeah. He's definitely one of those net positive dudes. All right, we're going to talk about lava, right? We're going to talk about lava. That's been the big the lava lending platform, right? This week that's been I wouldn't say necessarily even this week, but kind of like last week into this week. There's been a lot of buzz going on, and for whatever reason, people are sounding the alarms because they changed their custody model. And I don't blame people for sounding the alarms. I think it's rightfully so, for sounding the alarms for changing their custody model. Okay. And now look, even though it shouldn't make a difference who the investors are, right? Necessarily. But yeah, just, to put things into perspective, some of the people behind lava are people like Pump that were behind BlockFi, right? And now all of a sudden, right? So this is why it matters. Now all of a sudden they've changed their custody setup to no longer be using DLCs entirely. Okay. Supposedly, but the thing is that their whole back end is a black box, right? So the customer doesn't really know. So anyways, I covered this partially also during the week as well, because the story is, quote unquote developing, right? Because obviously the CEO is pushing back naturally, right? But again, it just illustrates, right? It just illustrates the simple point of not your keys, not your coin. It's like, this is going to, if you think that this isn't going to happen, and this is how it starts, right? Like there's a lot of these businesses, they start off and they're doing the right thing at the beginning. They gain your trust. If you think a business isn't going to sit there and, waste a certain amount of months to gain your trust as you put more and more money into their platform, right? You're wrong. Because at that point, right, once they've gained all that trust, well, guess what? Now they're going to go make a change and you're stuck. And that's exactly what they did, and there's people who are not happy about this, and I don't blame them. Like, why wouldn't you be more transparent, right? And then I got to be honest, the other piece to me that was a huge red flag was I was sitting in it. We were in a space, and then Brad Mills, right? Brad Mills scan. Like, so he comes in, and he's an investor in lava, and he comes in, and all of a sudden, right, organically, right, even though we're not even talking about loans, we're not talking about any of this stuff, organically just starts talking about how amazing their products are. Of course, but first he tells you he's an investor, so it's not, he's not, it's okay chilling it because it's just so ridiculous. And then of course, there's like two other people that jump in, start talking about the wonders of how amazing the loans are and all that stuff. And it's like, come on.
The organic marketing act is very poor. Again, these people are desperate for you to invest in them. They are desperate for your money. And as for that Brad Mills guy, I tell you, he's so overtly like almost like the Brian Armstrong analog analogy. It's like I'm just gonna say this stuff, and yeah, like I may burn somebody, but who cares? I've already won. And so you not to say that he's fully unethical. It's just like some of the things I see. It's like, wow, like it's kind of weird. And it's like, again, I don't know the guy, never interact with them, not trying to create a drama. I just like, I'm not interested in this part of humanity right here. That's it.
Yeah. It's they all kind of have the same MO. It's all this kind of,
I think it's a warning to some of those plebs. Yeah, but like these plebs, the BAC, or the EAC people, the effective acceleration, the effective altruism, the Bitcoin acceleration. These people who put these things in their profile, this is their world philosophy, and their world philosophy is this thing where it's like, we're going to do this to push the world towards this way, and we're going to do whatever in our power, even if we're like taking 5 steps back, and man, people are going to get burned. But if it means hyper Bitcoinization in the long run, so be it. If it means that people will lose all their cryptocurrency on my exchange, so be it. I think this action is making the world a better place. This is a God complex, and we have to be conscious of that. Just because you're a Bitcoiner, just because you're in the Bitcoin space, doesn't make this person an angel, doesn't make this person a perfect being. Like, these people have their incentives, and oftentimes the incentives come down to, that Crusoean economics. It's me versus you, bro. And it's like, either I lose or you lose. Because if we both win, I may not win enough for my sake. So it's going to have to be me or you. If we take that into consideration, we may stay the hell away from certain people, and we may save ourselves in the process.
Yeah, I've had enough experience with the ends justify the means people. It's okay. That's okay. They can keep that philosophy for themselves.
Oh yeah.
Let's enjoy. All right, let's take a look at some of the polls we've got going on here. So what did you say here? It's the first one. Someone new to crypto comes up to you and says he's interested in Ztrash. What's an appropriate response?
Or what's an appropriate response? Yeah, like, what do you guys want to? What do you guys say? I got some people that are here right now. Matthew J said it's down 98.89% all time against Bitcoin. Phil, you showed that recently. And it's like, and that's important. It's a fad. No matter what Zcash is doing right now, we've seen that before. It's Doge. Shiba Inu did that as well. It's not going to last. Centralized scams not going to last. Don't shitcoin, run knots. If privacy is optional, it's not private. Good take.
Privacy is not optional.
I don't know the
okay, so they're thinking of
on Zcash, but can you flip a switch to make it a private transaction?
Yes, okay. That's right. It's not private by default.
Okay. It's not a layer 2.
No, it's not a layer 2. It's you actually have to turn that on. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds interesting, but yeah, I mean, I like that. If it's optional, it's not private. Let the layer 2s deal with that. In my opinion, Bitcoin took care of its security, and its scarcity, and I think that's important. I think that's the focus right there. The privacy will come later. Just for it to be auditable, we know it's real, and I think that's just as important as privacy, in my opinion. So, but yeah, so it was an interesting poll, and of course, I don't think it's closed. So by all means, you guys, drop your own comments in there. It's not a poll; it's kind of just feedback.
Yeah, it's more like
yeah.
But I usually, when it comes to the shit coins, right? Because I've had obviously plenty of friends, that are like, hey, I heard, you talk about Bitcoin. What do you think of? And then, insert whatever shit coin. So I usually stay away from the specific shit coin, and I just explain shit coins in general, right? I just explain the fact that it's a bunch of trade-offs. I explain that they're all centralized, that the majority of them are pre-mined, the majority of them are also centrally controlled. There's, the majority of them, if, do not have hard caps, their monetary policies can change. essentially what I do is I try to just stay away from the particular coin and just frame it around there's Bitcoin and there's all these other things. So I don't like either you're going to buy Bitcoin or you're going to go play with all this other crap. And then that way, when they ask more questions about a different shitcoin, I refer them back to the original conversation of all shitcoins. And slowly but surely, it really, I mean, it does start to tick. Like I can honestly, I could say that at least in my case, it has worked, and I have managed to keep people that I love away from shitcoining. So I'm glad. You know, I'll take that.
Mr. Business is asking, like, yeah, like it's not usually on the top of the list. I agree, but the catch is it's on the top of the list now because of its viralness right now with. And I think what is that black guy that runs that exchange in Mexico or something?
Arthur Hayes.
Arthur Hayes, yeah.
Yep.
It was exposed that that's his second largest holdings besides Bitcoin in his own personal portfolio. So it kind of kicked off this Zcash bull run. But guess what? It's not normally a part of like like Solana, Ethereum. Let's be honest. Those are the popular ones that have kind of had some staying power for at least a half a decade. The catches with this thing is people are asking about it because it's new and people are looking for fads to invest in. People are looking for the current thing, which is what normies say, right? What's the new current thing? We really have to focus. We really have to teach people to say, hey, you don't really want to focus on the current thing. You really want to focus on, like Phil was discussing, fundamentals of what makes something good. And just like you can go into what makes an equity good, what makes, buying a home or buying rental properties good, and you have all these tenets, what makes Bitcoin good for you, for everyone, and then compare it to the things that are not Bitcoin but sound like it.
Yeah.
And Zcash is just the latest crypto fad, and it's shocking, but we've seen it before.
Yeah, absolutely.
And by the way, I made a post. I said, like, oh, the technicals. The technicals are going to kill this thing. As soon as it cools off, it's going to drop off. There's just from a technical analysis, there's no support anywhere close to like $200 a coin. So for all the people so for all the people who are going to be buying this now that they finally heard about it. I mean, I've been in crypto Bitcoin for 8 years. I didn't even know about Zcash until like this year. And it's like,
I remember when it launched.
Yeah. You remember when it launched. I was not aware of it until this year. And then I was like, oh, look at that. It's like, imagine all the people coming up saying, oh, I think I'll buy that Zcash. It's up 1,000%. You are the exit liquidity, my friend. It's like, and it happens every cycle and it will continue happening until I guess all the poor people run out of money, right?
Well, the problem is that they never, people don't run out of hope. That's the issue. So there'll always be suckers and there'll always be people wanting, right? If I don't need it to do as good as Bitcoin, I just need it to do a little bit of what Bitcoin did, right? It's the smaller number, go more moon, right? I don't need it to go up to $100,000 because I have X amount of this shitcoin. I only need it to go to 20 cents. It's like, yeah, guess what? You and all the other bag holders need it to go to 20 cents.
Good luck in the casino. Next one. So if Bitcoin does not keep up with
or beat the rate of monetary printing.
I wrote this. What did I write? Keep up with or beat the rate of monetary printing. Has it lost its chief value proposition to the masses? Like, I can't read my own writing. It's so funny. Again, I voted. I had to vote for something. But again, I think, and we talked about this earlier. I think Phil talked about the tenets of what makes Bitcoin. And most people kind of ventured towards those things. And I think they're decentralization, hard cap, no government owns it. No government owns the protocol, the rules. Everything's decentralized from the mining to the nodes. Everything. It's as perfect of a money as we've seen. However, I'll give a counterpoint. Let's just say Bitcoin, for some reason, it stays at $100,000 in perpetuity as monetary inflation or M2 supply goes from, what do we have? 100 trillion in the world right now. And it goes to 600 trillion in the next in the next 10 years, 6X's in the next 10 years, and Bitcoin stays flat for the 10 years at 100,000, does Bitcoin lose the value proposition that it has? You can't, we can't post the pictures anymore where it's like Bitcoin buys more house than it did before. We can't post the pictures that Bitcoin buys more groceries than it did before. Your Bitcoin's inflating from a I guess a compensation standpoint just as much as your dollar. So
but hold on a second. That would imply, okay. So I believe that this scenario would imply that the country's finances are getting healthier, and that would imply that the dollar is no longer losing its purchasing power at the rate that it's losing. Like, I believe that the scenario that is being implied here essentially means that we are not dying as quickly anymore, and the empire clock has maybe slowed down a little bit.
I would say no. I would say that the dollar is still. Remember, let's just cap it at $100,000 Bitcoin. The dollars are still buying less bread. The dollars are still buying less houses.
But why would
everything else is because?
But then why would Bitcoin be?
Because adoption is frozen. That's what I'm saying. Let's just say that we are all that's left. We're the last Bitcoiners, and we're not buying anymore. It's literally static for some reason. Because guess what? Yeah, we know that if monetary inflation goes up, Bitcoin takes a chunk of that. But what if it doesn't? And so what I'm saying is that monetary premium or that monetary use case, that number go up use case, if that ceases to exist, has it lost its chief value proposition to the masses? Now, maybe not to us, maybe not to most Bitcoiners, maybe not to the pleb Bitcoiners, because we like the decentralization. We like the money that no one can F with. But to the masses, are they going to go in and say, like, Bitcoin hasn't moved from 100,000 in 10 years? Why would I get that? I might as well hold my dollar. And that's why I think that last prepositional phrase, that's what I wanted to key in on. Of course, won't ever happen. Of course.
I mean, it's, to the masses. I mean, I could agree with that specifically because you're creating the group of general people that don't understand Bitcoin.
Right.
So for
and
me,
the way people get into Bitcoin is that they see that, hey, there's something about it. It keeps on getting more valuable. Why does it keep on getting more valuable? And people come for a number go up, but they stay for the revolution. That's the old trope. And generally, that's the case. We learn more about Bitcoin because we came first for the gains. So I don't know. Did I trick people? I don't know.
The Last Bitcoiner sounds like a Tubi movie.
Oh, man.
Yeah, Tubi. So Tubi, I think, is officially becoming like, everybody knows that the crappiest movies for, like, that's where you go. You go to Tubi, and it's true. I have
Last Starfighter.
I don't know how many people watch or use Tubi, but I am a giant sucker for all of the garbage movies there. But I will make one recommendation. If you're into mountaineering, they have this one movie there called Meru, Meru, and like, that is some heavy stuff. Like, watching that is in my dreams in another life, I'm a mountaineer, and that's what I do. But in this life, no, I don't. Anyways, hey, that's funny.
You should play Peak with me. You should play Peak with me. If why don't you play this game on Steam with me called Peak? It's like a mountain climbing.
No, okay. So look, I'm talking about genuinely like testing physical, physical strength and all of that good stuff, right? Climbing up the test against yourself, all that good stuff. And you're talking about sitting on the couch and playing video games. Like, that's not the same thing as mountaineering, like, it's not the same thing.
But I'm tired, Phil. I'm tired.
I know, I'm tired too. But that's why do you think I'm not up the mountain? Like, why do you think I'm not up there? It's. I remember I did try rock climbing for a little while. Like those indoor walls, and I did attempt bouldering for a bit, which is like, you have no equipment, right? You just have the chalk.
I'm about to say something racist. That ain't for black people, man.
Well, look, I'm not going to say who was in the sport complex and who wasn't. I'm just going to say that I ended up learning how much of a chicken chest I have from doing these particular activities. That's what I ended up learning.
Too
But
funny.
it's super fun. It's super fun. But yeah, mountaineering, it's definitely kind of like a, a self, right? A really like a pursuit of self, right? It's because, the analogy, right? Climbing the mountain of the self and all of that. Yeah. So it's pretty cool. Anyways, next poll. I don't know how we ended up on the mountain.
I think we only had 2. The only other one is for the end of the show, if possible. Really?
Is it this one, number 3? Was I
Okay,
not supposed to?
that's the one, guys. I want you guys to go onto our YouTube channel and give comments on it, and I will try to, I guess, give the results at the end of the show. Okay.
There's another one where they're where they're climbing Everest. That one's more of like a professional type of TV show. Anyways, all right, moving on from the polls. Let's see here. All right, maybe we dive into some endless paper Bitcoin at this point. We can do that. We can do some endless paper Bitcoin. Why not? Yeah, we don't have too much. We only have 2 of them anyways. So let's take a look. Okay. So this week, right? So Stefan posted this. He's talking about Orange BTC, right? Am I invested? Yes, I'm an investor plus an advisor for Orange BTC. For the people who don't know who that is a company that recently went public in Brazil, right? As a Bitcoin treasury company.
It is founded by the former number 2, forget his name, from former number 2 of Swan, which which was basically the chief, one of the chief proponents of like the lawsuit that was with Tether. It was kind of like if you take the Swan side, he's sort of the bad actor. I forget his name. Anyways, continue.
Alpha Zeta?
No, but he was one of them. But it was
he was one of them. Yeah, but
the other guy, I forget. Yeah.
But
this guy is running Orange. Yeah, go ahead.
He's the one running Orange. Well, the reason why I bring this up, right? It's not even really about Stefan Hart. Sorry, hold on. I got to go take a look at the Orange chart. Oh wow, we did a spike to 107.2 while we've been on the show. Look at that.
107.2.
Yeah, 107.2. Bitcoin price.
What?
Yeah,
I don't even look at the price because we're on the pleb underground. Who cares about price, bro?
No, because right now I'm looking at the Orange BTC chart because I want to see how they're.
Oh, it went back down though.
Yeah, because I like to show this, right? It's like people try to pretend that like, oh no, what do you mean the treasuries? They're all.
I'm pretty sure it spiked when I was talking about something because
here, look,
Bitcoin's about me, right?
Yeah, that's right. So there you go. There's the Orange month. There's the weekly chart on Orange.
Familiar.
Right? It's just they all kind of look like that, right? But the whole reason I brought this up is this kind of malalignment of incentives where you have people, right, that that host podcasts, right, that have tens of thousands or in some cases hundreds of thousands of listeners, and to a certain extent, right, being an advisor or an investor in one of these companies and promoting it, I don't know, man. To me, it kind of just seems like, weren't you here for Bitcoin? And now you've just been talking to me for the last 7 years.
Yes,
or
years.
10 years about the qualities of Bitcoin only, how Bitcoin is the only thing, how you used to be a gold bug or you were this other thing and it was Bitcoin only. And now all of a sudden, this publicly traded company that falls completely under every, under essentially every single argument against Bitcoin. Now all of a sudden it's okay because they hold Bitcoin or they're going to hold Bitcoin. It's just,
I've had this conversation with people.
It hurts me, man. Like, really what it tells me is like, you know what? Like, I desperately need a paycheck and this is what I'm doing. Like, and it's okay. I get it, right? Like I've always said, 1,000 times, everybody needs to eat. I get it. But it's just like,
but they're no longer the Bitcoin guy anymore. It's like you can.
But they are.
You can eat, but go ahead and be that person over there. Again, like I don't if you are promoting, a treasury company, and that's your aim out here. I'm sorry, dude. Like, I can see, I don't see the difference between that and Ethereum. I just don't. I don't.
I'm sorry. I
No.
don't mean to cut you off, but
No,
I just,
I just don't. I don't. It's not. There's nothing else to say. Go ahead and ask. What were you going to say?
no, what I was going to say was like think about it, right? Like if you're, so you're buying Bitcoin. Okay, fine. You decide to do a venture into one of these companies. Why would you advise your listeners to do something that's completely antithetical to what you were just you were just saying? Like it doesn't make any sense.
Because
like
you're farming people.
Here, and there's plenty of people that are invested in Bitcoin products that aren't actually shilling those products, and
That's
if
right.
anything, are actually criticizing those products because they're trying to be objective about it, because they're trying to be realistic. Like, but that's the thing. It goes against your incentive, right? It goes against your incentive to go and do that. And so nobody's going to do that publicly, right? Nobody's going to sit there and do it publicly, or very few people anyways.
I remember, like, the last thing when I was on Swan, the last thing when I started with the Pleb Underground is like, you know what I feel like doing? I feel like really telling people that MicroStrategy is the way. I know I got a bag of MicroStrategy, but that's not what I'm here for, because when those new people come in, and I keep that, if I'm either silent on it or I'm reporting objective news. Michael Saylor bought 600,000 Bitcoin. That's news. You could take it forever, however you want. Or I'm critical. I'm like, you see how he's diluting shares? That's analogous to what the central bank does to your dollar. So therefore, he's using Keynesian economic principles just like the central bank is. He is not the hero that you need for Bitcoin. You don't need any heroes. You need to look at the fundamentals of Bitcoin and see that no one can hold up to that standard, because everyone's going to work out. If they have the power, they will utilize that power to make for themselves rich, even at the expense of you. And so it's like, I don't mind saying that. And I got a bag of strategy. I think it's kind of funny because I see that no one else really does that. I mean, and maybe some people have bags, but I'm the one who's like, every time I talk about MicroStrategy, it's a disclaimer, I got some. And I hope that it could be an example for other people to say, like, look, you want to invest in some other things, that's fine. But when you're on this platform, you have the mic. It's almost like, again, church reference, but if you're going into the pulpit and you're about to preach the word, you have to kind of set yourself on your, it's like, you have to prep yourself. Like, I don't want to be leading people astray, because like you could be telling people like what you want to tell them, but what is, again, your version of the truth, or what you think is the truth, that could be completely different. So keep your incentives out, and let's talk about the fundamentals of why we're here, so we can get people on the right path. A lot of people lost that plot a long time ago. It's a lot of people that we love with 100,000 subs, and they can fart on a video on Twitter and they'll get 1,000 likes. Why? Because they've made it, and so they're using that they've made it to lead you astray. It's wrong.
Chill dog shit, essentially. Yeah, it's too bad. It's too bad. And in all fairness, it's only going to get worse.
Yes.
Right, like really, as Bitcoin continues to grow, as the space matures, as more
money,
we haven't even begun to see the really high level grifters come into this space, and start doing what they do, right? Like we haven't seen the Bernie Madoffs yet.
But they're coming. Think about what's this billionaire guy, the guy who's like he has a brother. The billionaire with the brother, one's in real estate, one's in Bitcoin. And
Cardone's.
Like he hasn't really gotten his feet wet. Like he just got here like in 24. Like imagine a full cycle, and now Cardone. Oh my gosh.
Oh, just
Cardone, the OG. Like imagine the financial vehicles that he's going to be shilling. And by the way, all the A-list Bitcoiners, they're going to be saying, look what Gary says. And by the way, like he's out there, like of the Bitcoin conference, it's like he's sexually harassing the girls who do the interviews. Like, what's her name? I forget her name, but she's done stuff for Bitcoin magazine. Like, he's like doing all kinds of cringy stuff. Again, it's just like these are the heroes that we propagate. He's doing an interview with her, and he's eye googling her. It's like, really, dude? Like, can you keep yourself together for 10 seconds so you can answer a question? It's like, these are the type of people that are heroes in this space, and you have to wonder, like, what type of people? I thought we're supposed to be different.
It's an attention economy, right? It's an attention economy, and those people have the attention, therefore they have the economy. You know, and they're willing to say, look, the other thing is this, right? Like, people like to feel good, and one of the cheapest ways, right? One of the cheapest ways to gain somebody as an ally is flattery. So you tell them things that they want to hear, right? You tell them things that make people feel good, and you know, like, it's you confirm their biases, right? All right.
Yeah, I mean, to follow up, like, look at the Sailor Party for the Bitcoin Magazine Sailor Party. Find where he was being interviewed by Isabella. That's right. Go find where he was being interviewed by Isabella, and look at the way he was acting with her. It's just, and by the way, now he's married? A Bitcoiner.
He married?
I don't know. It's just sloppy. You know, it's like, it's unnecessary, but you can either ignore it, you can denounce it, but we don't even do those two things. We uplift him. We ignore it and then uplift him despite that type of trash. Bitcoin doesn't need him. He was fine before him. It'll be fine if he left. That's how I see it. But guess what? Bitcoin's not a community. Bitcoin is money for your enemies. So I choose to ignore him.
Yeah, I don't even I actually will avoid showing his posts sometimes, actually, for the most part, unless it's like something to point out a lesson, right? Because I don't actually want people to be exposed to that stuff.
Negative.
I mean, I've definitely spent enough time in enough of those spaces where it's like nobody should be listening to this. It is just so brutal. It really is. And you know what? I mean, look, I guess everybody can take responsibility, because to a certain extent, right, as a Bitcoin enjoyer, I could say that it's maybe my responsibility to go in that space and tell him otherwise, right? But so it's, I don't know, man. I don't really know. You know, like, you just gotta take responsibility for yourself. You know, that's pretty much it.
All right. You have the option to opt out.
Exactly, right? It's a voluntary network.
Thank goodness.
Hey, BTC Moon Guy, we love you too. Thank you so much. We love doing this. This is honestly like
it's therapeutic
for me. For me, like, it's like, you know, your whole life you spent your time, or at least in my case, spent my time talking smack, and it's like I can just do this every day. You know, like,
I'm actually
before,
not much of a smack talker. I don't. Like it takes a lot for me to. In fact, I apologize. I went to the Chargers and Steelers game yesterday, and I ran into these two guys that out of 70,000 people. These two guys I played basketball against that actually ended up beating me. They beat me. They're younger guys, and they were like, "Hey, you play basketball with us?" I was like, "Yeah, I did." And I looked to one of them. I was really rude to him, and I had to apologize because, like, you know, dude, I'm not that guy, but it's a championship. I was feeling myself, and I said some things to you. I apologize, but how would you guys like to play with me? One guy's 6'7", the other guy's my height, and they both play D2 ball. So I'm collecting. Goodwill. Now I collected 2 superstars to play with me and win some more games. This is how we grow the network, right?
That's it. Okay. We're going to take a look at some, what are we looking at here? All right. This guy's got some base takes. Maybe not all of them necessarily. Fernando.
His name is Base Layer.
Yeah, I know. His name is Base Layer, and he does have some pretty base takes. So here we go. This one's, it's very few people have the full message that's, you know, like worth reading. But yeah, this is it's worth it. So Bitcoin Twitter is 50,000 people talking to each other while thinking they're talking to the world. And that's why adoption looks nothing like we predicted. Every Bitcoiner thinks everyone knows about self-custody because their entire timeline is about that. Meanwhile, your neighbor thinks Bitcoin is a stock that trades on weekends. The fragmentation is perfect. Maxi's arguing about covenants while traders watching charts while normies buying ETFs. These completely different Bitcoins existing simultaneously. And this is one of the things that I have said. There is this thing that Wall Street believes in. It's not, they don't care about Bitcoin. The network doesn't exist for them. All that exists for them is Bitcoin, the asset, right? Anyways, which is actually not the token or the network. Believe it or not, it's this whole other construction. Anyways, Maxi's 3 completely different Bitcoins existing simultaneously. This is why NGU is the only universal language. Price speaks to everyone. Technology speaks to dozens. Philosophy speaks to hundreds. But NGU speaks to billions. You may hate that, but it's true. And it's the only thing that crosses all realities. I got to tell you, he's right. That is what's up. What were you going to say? You pointed.
No, I wanted you to finish because I do have something to say. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I guess real quick.
Yeah.
That post, I think whether I think I remember you posting it. That was what triggered my poll question. Bitcoin loses the number go up.
Yeah.
You know, is it going to lose its value proposition to the masses? And when he says number goes up, speaks to billions. I've always had this in the back of my head, and of course, I think it's obvious, but
he's right.
He's right.
Like, this is and that, you know, and this is interesting that it seems like such a, you know, like something that may be new, but once upon a time, right, we used to talk about shelling points, right? And one of the major shelling points of Bitcoin was NGU, and it was understood that, hey, right, everybody can understand number go up. Like, this is like the simplest, it's like the simplest meme. And Bitcoin, once upon a time, at least the social layer, was about creating these very simple, effective memes. And that was one of them. So yeah, it's but he's not wrong. He is not wrong, right? There is absolutely different Bitcoins. Granted, there is only Bitcoin, right? But in terms of perception, there are multiple Bitcoins, which is exactly what he described, right? There's the Bitcoin in the ETF, right? There's the Bitcoin that there's the Bitcoin that the technologists are arguing about, right? Like, there's obviously the core versus knots, right? The what he was talking about, the covenants, and then there's a whole other sect of Bitcoin, which is these, you know, the treasury companies, right? So all of that gets confused, and nobody knows what the hell anyone is talking about anymore. Anyways, that was I appreciate that one.
And I think to cap that, it's no different than really any monetary system. Bitcoin there's many layers to what money is. The layered money is the name of Nick Bosch's book, but it talks about like how different levels of abstraction of what the money is that you use, whether it's fiat or Bitcoin, come into play. And he came at it from a financial standpoint, but it's like, think about the dollar and people who are dealing with, you know, the current state of the treasury, the current state of the Federal Reserve, the bond market. Can my dollar buy a cup of, like, is the cost of a cup of coffee going up? You know, all those things, different people abstract and address the dollar in different ways. And it's Bitcoin isn't going to be any different. It's just that the final answers are going to be different. It's the same. You have a construct, you have layers, and we have to be honest with what those layers are, and they're all important. We have to acknowledge that. He's not wrong. Like, number go up is for the billions, but those people who are dealing with the hundreds and the thousands, that matters to a bit too.
Oh yeah. No, absolutely, right? I mean, to a certain extent, the ones that it matters to philosophically, let's say, they end up in some cases disseminating the message. Right? So it's like, to your point, you need these people, right? Like, it's like, look, the coders, right? Like the original cypherpunks, right? They kind of needed these other people to come along and use Bitcoin. It's going to sound like an unpopular opinion, and use Bitcoin in nefarious ways. Really, just use Bitcoin in any way.
Silk Road. That's right. I
Right?
knew you were going to say that. Right.
Yeah, you know, and then like after that, right? Like then all of a sudden, all of those guys, they needed the nerds, right? They needed the tinkerers and the geeks to come along and start playing with Bitcoin, right? And start messing around with microcontrollers and QR codes and all of this stuff, right? And just start
wallets,
to
right.
To
make their hardware
right?
wallets, yeah.
And so, right, once you get all of these tinkerers in, guess what? They start building, and who do they need?
The tech adopters, the regular people,
right?
Yeah. Or the first movers.
That's right. They need the first movers to step in, right? And then the first movers are going to step in. They build a lot of infrastructure around it. You're starting to see it, right? Like as much as
use cases,
right? You start to see the big lightning liquidity use cases and stuff like that. Who do those people?
I'm going to use that term, lose cases.
Lose cases. Who do those people need? They need retail, right? So it's you know who it is? You just made me think of Ant. Ant with his concentric circles theory. It's not his theory, but he always talks about it, the concentric circles, and that is exactly what it is. If you look at Bitcoin in terms of the concentric circles, you could see that every layer requires the other layer once it's built. Right? Like once those people are there, once those people are ready, they now require the next layer to come in. The next layer of adopters, so to speak.
Yeah, that's right.
Anyways, okay, hold on. Look at us. We're not really flying through stuff, but we're moving at a good, healthy pace. It's a healthy pace. All right, what are we looking at here? I had this under scammers. So yeah, Singapore has passed a new law mandating that scammers be caned between 6 and 24 times. I don't know who put this post in.
I did.
Okay. But I mean, look, it's an interesting form of punishment, the caning. You think it's going to work?
Well, I do know that Singapore is very, very strict on what they allow in their domain. For instance, I think dropping gum on the ground could result in jail time. Drugs, being caught with drugs is definitely a lot of jail time. So yeah, I just think that they're very unique in how they approach criminality. They have one of the highest net per capita earnings, I think. Yeah, per capita earnings in the world. I'm not going to say that that's a deciding factor in what's the best countries. Smaller countries tend to just be easier to manage, and everyone kind of tends to, the poor bottom ranking doesn't seem to be as poor as a larger country. Luxembourg, Singapore, all those places kind of blend in. Belgium. But I think to go back to the main post, I mean, the scammers are seen as, now what is a scammer is one thing, but guess what? They don't seem to take scammers lightly. Whereas America, scamming, especially for the elite, I mean, scammers are elected officials. Like it's a rite of passage. It's a norm that the less informed are subject to the more informed. And and again, information is power, but it shouldn't be used as a weapon to attack innocence, in my opinion. And I don't know how that is fixed, of course, within the free market, but there has to be some sort of fix to deal with the problems that are out there. And maybe that just means education for people, understanding what's bad to invest in, understanding what's a bad path to go down. But I thought this was a funny post.
Yeah.
And it makes me wonder, like, how many people need to be caned out in the Bitcoin or crypto community?
Well, there's people already suggesting, trying to figure out how many canes Vitalik should have. Or how many he should get.
Oh
And
no, poor Vitalik. His body would break.
oh my gosh, just shatter. It's like like a bunch of toothpicks. You'd think with all that time, he'd be like, maybe I should start working out so people can't kick my ass. Like, it's good that I'm smart, but maybe I should be able to hold my own a little, you know?
Some people have gone down that path. Like Jeff Bezos got
Right?
buffer.
Of
Like
course.
Mark Zuckerberg got buffer, and like
Yeah.
I mean, he literally took up either jujitsu or taekwondo or maybe both. It's like,
Yeah.
good for you, bro. Like you can't, like no one can mess with you anymore. It's kind of
I mean,
funny.
it's important.
I think so.
Right? Come
They
on.
bought their time. What did they do with it? I
Right?
guess
Like, you should be
Vitalik, he's just
health,
he's an idiot.
right? Health and wellness. Like, you should be investing in that.
That's right.
And it doesn't even take much. You got to do is exercise, learn martial arts, and that's not just even physical wellness, but it's also contributes to mental health. So
That's right.
yeah, it's yeah, that's right, guys. Better than sitting on the couch and eating junk.
Watching
Tubi. Even though I love Tubi. Such good times. All those crappy movies. So fun. And they play all the B movies from the 80s and 90s. It's so good. I actually just finished watching the Frank Zappa documentary. Frank Zappa, musician from like the 60s and 70s and even 80s.
He knows music.
He's very, very out there. He was one of the musicians that came out of Laurel Canyon, which like there's like a lot of like out there music that came out of Laurel Canyon and all that good stuff. So, but yeah, they're obviously giant conspiracies, right? That he was one of those people that was brainwashed. Was it MI5 or MI6 or the CIA, whatever? It doesn't matter, but he was definitely he was an interesting dude.
There were a lot of musicians that were maybe not brainwashed, but they were in league with some security, with some, I guess, what do you call it? CIA level groups, 3-letter agencies. I think there's, especially in Los Angeles. So I don't know how how false that information is, but I've seen some things that seem to have been verified, like, after years of declassification.
Did you know that the American Dental Association used to sponsor rock concerts?
So we're going down that path.
We're not going down that path.
Okay.
I'm just saying that as a one-off comment before we continue back on Bitcoin. But it's just to point out, like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Was that all about, right? Like, it's like you wouldn't know it unless you actually, like, I remember the first time I heard that, I thought I was being trolled. And back then, I don't even know if the term trolling existed, because this is like back in the 90s. And it was literally just people lying to you, right? Telling you something.
What's their value proposition?
Well, their value proposition, I have no idea what it was, but to a certain extent, it has to do with influencing the youth. Now, I don't know if they were talking about brushing teeth and proper flossing techniques at rock concerts where Led Zeppelin was playing and stuff like that. However, it's
fluoride.
Kind of weird, right? It's just kind of weird. But then again, I guess it's the same difference as, the companies that sponsor stuff today.
Sporting
right?
events,
Like,
I mean, all kinds of weird
right?
things.
You've got Tag Heuer that sponsors, right? Like, well, no, is it Tag? Who's there's all these car companies that sponsor like tennis, like
brand recognition, yeah, but like the ADA, that's a not for profit. Like,
yeah,
like it's
why
like, advertising is clear. Like, hey, you're at the tennis match, buy my watch, buy my car. All you guys who are at the event, you need a car, you need a watch. I'm here for you. But the ADA, like, you're not going to, like, you're going to a local dentist. You're not. Oh, I wonder what the ADA, recommends this. So
it's just weird.
Yeah, it's maybe it's just money laundering.
Yeah. So here's some cringe. Some satirical posts mock New York Mayor Zoran Mamdani with fake Bitcoin policies. Yeah, but wait, there's more. Of course, it's this guy. It's this guy that puts out the FUD, right?
Yeah, that was the initial post. I mean, he was
Yeah, that
one,
was
and
the initial post.
because of his post,
Yes,
it
exactly.
created a Twitter summary, at least for me and maybe some others.
Yes.
But that's just like, look, the
Yeah.
guy's a socialist. Okay, he's a communist, whatever. He's such a socialist that he's a part of the Democratic Socialists of America. Obviously, a bad thing. But Fred Krueger, again, it's just like his presence. It's almost a satire. Just a constant satire. Like everything is, it's a meme. I understand, but it's not even like really funny, you know. And maybe because you know New York is hitting an all-time low for electing literally a communist mayor. But it's like for that, the problem is it's funny is because a lot of people like that post. I just think certain people can meme, and I don't think that that's a funny meme. Maybe it's generational. I don't know, but you know, that was weird to me. That now everyone in New York is going to get their Bitcoin locked up. Like, can we just like opt for the higher ground?
Yeah, seriously.
I don't.
No, he goes for the bottom feeding. He goes for the bottom, the bottom of the barrel freaking
he's definitely figured out a way about the Twitter world. Like, smart guy. I've interviewed him at the Swan event.
Yeah, sure.
And he is sharp, and he's a good storyteller. And I think he is keyed in on the general psyche or psychology of the Bitcoin Twitter space. And he's got it wrapped around his finger. That's like
he knows how to work it.
Yeah,
he definitely knows how to work it.
So let's be cautious, right? Let's be cautious. I'm not saying that everyone has to hate Fred Krueger.
No, it's not about hating. It's just about understanding, right? It's just about understanding. Like these guys, right? They are not Signal. You know, like those guys like him, like you can't take him seriously. Like by the same token, where he tells you something accurate by the other side, he's shilling you the weird desert retreat for 3 Bitcoin. So it's just, or he's shilling you Thorchain for Bitcoin yield, right?
Right. As he's made himself aware of the psychology of the Bitcoin space, how can he capitalize on it? And it's like, oh, you want to give me the Bitcoin for me giving you this really stupid thing that didn't really take me a lot of time? Okay, value for value. And if you really like Fred Krueger so much to be a part of him that you're willing to part with your Bitcoin for his shenanigans, the Bible says it often: a fool and his money will soon be parted.
That's right.
Proverbs, I believe. What's his name? Roman said, LOL, New York is going to be all right. Look, I'm generally bearish on urbanism. And so I think that a lot of the reasons that we have doubt for personal freedom and free market capitalism is because of urbanism, which leads to over-governance, which leads to high taxation, and all of these negative things. If we somehow became a little more decentralized, we wouldn't have these megapolises, and we'd have a little more control over our personal freedoms, in my opinion. People who are in New York or LA proper, whichever way, that way, it's good to be in the suburbs. It's good to be in the rural areas. You want to go visit, Broadway or play. I understand to go see the Lakers. I understand it's nice to be able to be within reach, to be entertained. But in my opinion, the urbanism is the death of Western culture, because it definitely wasn't founded on that. We left and we were frontiersmen. We developed communities, but we kept things kind of fresh and fringe. We're starting to get a little bit too urban right now, especially with both sides of the aisle are very much into how can we group people, whether it's populism, whether it's communism. We need to learn to be a little more sovereign individual, and that comes from being okay with being separate from the core of the central governing authority.
There's an interesting correlation between mental illness, depression, and industrialization.
Say that again.
Between mental illness, depression, and industrialization.
Yeah.
So eventually, as more people began to live closer and closer, the incidence of depression and mental illness, as a general category, started to increase drastically. So, interestingly enough, right? It's like as we got closer and closer together in cities, we actually began to feel farther and farther apart and have less support structures, family support structures, and stuff like
Ironic. But family support structures, because we tend
All of that matters.
we tend to, like, and again, Great Society, Lyndon B. Johnson, we tend to start to rely on something else to replace the family structure.
Yep.
It's like, and the government was right there to service that. That's how, again, the black community went way downhill during the time of Lyndon Johnson, during the time of the 60s, as drugs were entering the neighborhoods. In the 50s, like, you could say racism was black people weren't killing black people in the 50s. Something happened with this Great Society stuff with, as drugs came in, and it was all downhill. I do believe that we need to separate from our governing authorities so we can find out where our foundations lie. And because some people understand it, some people can live in the city and understand where the boundaries are, but a lot of people, guess what? They see Bitcoin and they don't get it, and they see a lot of truths in this world and they don't get it, and it's a matter of our societal construct that leads them down the wrong path. Big wordisms.
Lots of big wordisms there. Lots of big wordisms. Okay, we are going to take a look at the Samourai update for the people who have not followed along. Here is Dan Morris after the sentencing of Coinicarus Rodriguez. And I forget the other gentleman's name, but his last name I think is Hill.
I did not see the story.
Hi, this is David Morris for The Rage here at the Southern District of New York, where we just saw the completion of a sentencing hearing for Coinicarus Rodriguez, one of the two creators of Samourai Wallet, a privacy/mixing service. Rodriguez, which some people will be disappointed by, Rodriguez got the full possible sentence for his guilty plea on the charge of operating an unlicensed money transmitter. 1960C, the same charge that Roman Storm was recently found guilty of, and that people, including Peter Van Valkenburg from Coin Center, have said is being interpreted strangely in these cases. But regardless, we saw a Judge Cote, who seemed very unsympathetic to the arguments for financial privacy that were made by Rodriguez in some of his submissions ahead of the sentencing. I'll be writing more about that at The Rage soon. So full 5-year sentence on that one charge. It is worth keeping in mind that in exchange for his guilty plea, several other charges with a potential maximum of 25 years in prison were dropped. And so it's not necessarily that he got a raw deal for the plea. He did potentially reduce his sentence by pleading guilty. He will also pay a $250,000 fine, which, according to his own defense lawyers, is going to be a real challenge because he has obligations already greater than money that he had on hand from his work prior to Samourai Wallet. So it's not the outcome that I think many viewing this are going to have hoped for, but it is still probably less than at least a worst case scenario. Lots more detail to come as I write for The Rage over the next couple of hours, so stay tuned to this space. Thanks.
Yeah, so that sets the precedent, right? There's a bunch of different pieces to pick apart from this. Number one, if you're not following The Rage Tech, I believe it is, theragetech.com. Definitely follow them. They are absolutely amazing. These guys are one of the, again, right? It's like, I genuinely feel like this is like one of the last bastions of like independent journalism. So yeah, you got to support that stuff. Because trust me, we're not going to know when our voices are lost. You just won't know. But this is like, to me, again, this is bad stuff, right? This sets the precedent. That judge that judge has a history has a history of being very rigid. And it's just, you get these people like this that they don't understand what they are judging. They don't even do you actually believe that I'm going to sound ageist as fuck, I don't care, but do you honestly think that this fucking fossil understands a damn thing that was presented in front of her? Do you actually think so? I don't think so. I don't think she understood. I think that person is there, right? In my eyes, she was there to do one thing, the bidding of the state, right? And now what we have is a precedent. And number two, what ends up happening is the wonderful self-censorship that comes about from seeing the example of what happens to people who try to work outside the system, right? It's the same thing that they did to Ross Ulbricht, right? They made an example of him. You think they give a shit that there was people buying drugs? Stuff like, they don't care about that. They don't care. The agents, it was known that it was agents themselves. I don't know if it was FBI or CIA. It doesn't even make a difference. But themselves that were actually petitioning for, in order to purchase murder for hire services on Silk Road. Mm-hmm. So this whole thing, it's like, if you think for a second that these people, right, they give a shit about my well-being, your well-being, they don't. It's got nothing to do with that. What's important is maintaining the perception of the state, and they did that. And now we're all gonna frickin' pound sand. That's what's coming.
Yeah, it's the only way that these types of things go away is with extreme public support, and the public really has to see the acceleration of the fiat construct go away. Because if it's a slow creep, you can get 1984 real easy, where it's like, you kind of forgot how much the cost of bread was 5-10 years ago, because you're living in the now. Which, guess what? It's hard to remember. I don't remember how much bread was 10 years ago. I know it was cheaper, but I don't know how much cheaper. People got to see it in real living color. You just have to say, 6 months ago, this was not the price. What's going on? 6 weeks ago, this was not the price. What's going on? And until that happens, the state can protect their fiat scam pretty freely. And, there's no hyper Bitcoinization. And this really is a fact of hyper Bitcoinization has to happen because people are lulled to sleep. And when people are lulled to sleep, the government can go work out their violent incentives. And this is an example right here.
Oh, yeah, man. Absolutely. Right. Keep them asleep, or keep them entertained, or keep them cycling between sleep, entertainment, fear, and anxiety. Whatever it takes. Just don't pay attention to now we're not even at the point with the man behind the curtain at this point. No. It's entire governments behind the curtain. It's corporations, really. A lot of corporations behind a lot of NGOs and stuff like that. NGOs.
Oh, no rabbit holes.
No, we're not going down the rabbit holes there. Okay, all right. We're gonna move on to the contentious part of the knots versus core stuff, right? Imagine thinking that the price is dropping because of spam or core version 30. 99.99% of the people selling don't even know what a node is. Look, I gotta hand it to Sani, right? I don't mind the trolling. I think the trolling is all kinds of fun. But at the same time, right? This debate has just completely fallen apart. Yeah, this is where we are. This is where we are in the whole debates. We've got these memes. We've got these memes that don't make any sense anymore. And like I just said, I appreciate the trolling. Okay, I think the trolling is fun. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you actually, regardless of what you think of nonsense like spam or anything like that, or whatever client, doesn't make a difference. But if you actually believe that the Bitcoin exchange rate was affected because of a software release that 99.99%, just like Sandy said, of the TradFi world doesn't even know exists. I'm really like, you drank the Kool-Aid. Like you drank the Kool-Aid and you're buying the bullshit. One has nothing to do with the other. Like this goes back to our earlier point about there's multiple Bitcoin assets out there in the world. Even though, yes, of course, there's only Bitcoin. But in terms of perception, right? TradFi doesn't give a shit about the Bitcoin network. They don't even care about Bitcoin, the token, because they have Bitcoin, the asset. It's not even the same thing. Bitcoin, the asset, doesn't care what client you're running. Doesn't matter. None of this stuff matters. Anyways, it's just so comical.
I have nothing to add. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, at this point, there's BIP 444. I see there's a lot of contention over that. A lot of discussions are happening. From what I see, supposedly there's February 1st is going to be Flag Day, where I guess people running the client that has BIP 444 enabled on it, and we're going to see what happens then. I don't know. I just think it's just too bad, right? It's just too bad. I feel like we didn't have any good enemies this cycle, so that's why we're stuck with this bullshit. I guess that's
Phil, hold on.
Yeah.
Why did our views just double? Is Monday Night Football at halftime so people come over to the Pleb Underground? Like, I don't understand what's going on. Did you see that?
It could be somebody else's show that just ended or something like that.
Welcome to the Pleb Underground. You guys are late. Okay, we're about to end.
We're
don't
about
do
to
that
end.
anymore. Come earlier, or don't. No, just playing. We're very happy that you're
gonna give the viewers crap, right? That's my favorite thing, right? When you blame the customer, it's the customer's fault. My thing doesn't work. No, you never blame.
I actually do that at work all the time.
No, it's okay. It's never worth it. It's never worth it. You're not right. We appreciate you guys joining us. Monday Night Football is
it really? Hey, so is that Charger Steeler game. So both primetime games are just a nothing burger. I'm sorry, man. When I go if I'm watching it, it better be 30 to 28 last second 2-minute warning drill. Anyways,
okay.
Who cares about the Eagles?
Yeah, I don't care about the Eagles. Although I
know you don't.
No, I used to once upon a time when I was fascinated with I know, right? I had like what didn't they used to have Randall Cunningham? Like back in the 90s?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Right? I like
early scrambling quarterbacks, yeah.
Yeah, man. That guy was cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I used to know
you could come to the cookout. You could come to the cookout.
Old guy. Man, he was good. I liked him. Okay. Let's take a look here. We've got some El Salvador news. What are we talking about with El Salvador? Okay, here's a post here from Daniel DiMartino. In case you missed it, El Salvador's Nayib Bukele declared transportation to be free. Hey, that's nice. Problem is he mandated private companies to provide free services. Welcome to socialism. When they didn't comply, he ordered the arrest of the owners. Typical socialist. El Salvador will stay backwards. I don't know that I agree that they're going to stay backwards. But yeah, I got to tell you, this is kind of par for the course when it comes to these public-private partnerships to a certain extent. And in this case, I'm using the word partnership very loosely.
It's a form of fascism.
It's not a partnership.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, this is actually fascism accurate, not that nonsense that woke people are saying with it's fascist. This is fascism, and it either El Salvador was murder capital of the world. Now they're not. In order to get out of that murder capital world, they had to do some weird dictator stuff. I'm not saying. All I can say is that the people, from what I've heard, a lot of people are happier to live there. But at what cost? Maybe some free market capitalism, maybe some free personal freedoms of what kind of hairstyle you can have or what tattoo you can have. hopefully people can leave the country freely if they want. That's the problem. When you say, hey, I don't like the way this looks, and you can't go to Guatemala, it's like those countries are so small that you have jurisdictional arbitrage. If you don't like that, what's going on there, there's a next door. But Central America, it really ain't pretty no matter where you look.
Roman is pointing out some truth here, right? Because here we have we have a different form of it, right? We have a bit of some socialism light, right? Here it's the light version that just, it still feels okay, but he's absolutely right. Not like taking a percentage of a private company, or in our case, a public company.
Oh,
right?
I tell you, I called Intel when it was, I looked at Intel. I was like, oh, it's $19. You know what? Let me write that one down. I'm going to buy that when the bear market comes and I got a little liquidity. And I'm going to buy Intel. And of course, thanks President Trump for buying it and jacking the price back up 100%. So that's fascism right there too. But it's happened before. What are all the bailouts? United Airlines, GMC, these are the types of things. This is why Bitcoin was started in the first place, So, you could say yeah, this sucks, but because of this evil and because people recognize that kind of stuff's mostly Satoshi, he created a workaround. It's yeah, we're not going to deal in that system anymore if we don't want to. And I think that's sometimes good comes out of bad things.
So I just want to point out to the people who think that this is late stage capitalism, or any one of those isms, what you need to understand is this is what late stage empires look like.
That's right.
Every single empire before this has gone through this. This is what happens, right? Empires start off hungry and they build. They build, they get strong, they dominate. Then once they dominate, they become complacent. When they become complacent, they start to live and they start to behave based on their reputations. And that's essentially how they garner more resources, is with their reputations. And then once the reputation runs out, then you have to start devising ways of keeping all of your power. So oftentimes it's spreading the military too thin. It's also purchasing businesses, right, to keep the economy going, to keep right, because it's all about perception and it's all about trust. So this is, look, this is the story. This is the story of the quote unquote empire clock, right? And we're just seeing it play out again, right? It's playing out right here at home. The only difference, though, that I think this time is that in the past, it seemed to affect one empire at a time. In this particular case, it seems to be affecting multiple empires at a time. And that, I believe, is because it's a way more global economy. And for the most part, the majority of the world uses the dollar.
So I guess I counter that.
Yeah, go ahead.
I guess I would counter that. Sorry to interrupt, but doesn't that make the United States really the only empire in this world right now?
Well, that's the thing, right? Simultaneously, China is rising.
Yeah,
right.
Right.
But keep in mind, China was once upon a time a world power, right? They had multiple dynasties that held power around the world, and then they faded, right? Because again, they also became complacent, and they also military stretched out too thin and resources too thin and the debasement of money. It's the same story over and over again. It really is. Yeah.
I was going to comment on what Rourke said because
want me to pull it up?
Yeah, I did it earlier, but only difference is information spreads much quicker, which means that people act on news quick. Of course, they act on it more quickly. And I think he's referencing the Roman Empire was one of those chief examples with that end of empire phase that you were talking about. That played out over 300 years. It's they were coin clipping for centuries, and it wasn't until 500 AD. Maybe in 200, maybe 100 AD, it was crumbling. Maybe 0 time of Christ, but it took a half a century because information didn't travel. Now we get all that information, and now it's that 500 years can creep down to 50 years maybe, and so we have to be aware.
to Roman's point, though, right? China is coming to take our lunch, so that's kind of an interesting thing, because you see something that we've never had the technology to create the can kicking that we can create today and that we have created today, like stable coins, right? The use of Bitcoin. This is big for the government, specifically the stable coins, right? That is massive for them. In terms of the US government, this is going to enable them. And again, in no way does this mean that history stops. In no way does this mean like, that's it. You know, it's like, that's it. They've managed to stop the empire clock. Like, that's not what's happening here at all.
Delay it. I mean, there's a market for those, for the dollar. But how fast? Yeah.
The Ottoman Empire lasted 600 years. So there's total can kicking that can be done, right? But you have to have the discipline in order to do it, right? You have to have the fortitude in order to do it. And again, I'm not saying that as like, oh, you know, these governments are virtuous for being able to kick the can down the road. No, it all ends terribly, no matter what. When it comes to the
and what I think is that here's the catch: with the difference between those empires and this one right now is that there's no familial like ownership with regards to the legacy. Like, you know, the Romans, they were all related in terms of, not all of them, but a lot of them were related. They passed their ownership of the empire down to their next, whether it's a child or their, you know, another general, what have you. Ottoman Empire, I'm pretty sure is the same thing. Basically, it's not a democracy. So when the Trump line, you know, it's like we were talking about football, we have these coaching trees, right? We obviously know that the Bushes had the Republicans for a while, and the Clintons had the Democrats. The Clintons go to you know, Obama, which goes to Biden, and Biden was, you know, they're all interrelated, one side or another. But as these coaching trees for the politics, they're not that big. And so it's like the next group that comes in, let's just say another group of Republicans, they don't care about Trump. So it's like, it's more rent seeking. It's like, hey, I want to own this. I'm the king for 20 years, or my tree is the king for 20 years rather than 100 years. That means they're going to run that thing down even faster, because when the next group comes in, it's like they don't care if they leave the office in shambles. And that's the problem. That's a weird problem with democracy. Again, democracy, the God that killed us. Hoppe wrote that book. He has some points there. I'm not saying we need to be full monarchy, but it's like the rent-sinking politician state. You're not going to vote your way out of bad politicians. It's by nature, democracy encourages you to say, I got 4 years. What am I going to do with it?
Yeah. And essentially, right, it becomes, unfortunately, late stage, you know, empire falling apart becomes exactly what it is, right? We have polarizing issues where politicians aren't getting anything done. When they do come into power, it is only to exert their power. It has nothing to even do with governing or the constituents. So it's, yeah, we're just seeing a whole lot of the red flags of late stage empire crumbling, and essentially Bitcoin has appeared just in time, right? Seemingly
just people have appeared just in time for this show. Like, I gotta ask, okay, for all the people who are just coming, no, this is crazy though. Where are y'all coming from? Someone send Phil, someone send me a DM, say, just let me know, like, give me a little bit of intel, like, hey, I came from this show. That
more work. I'm not. So you send it to him. You
send it to me. I want to know. I want to know. This is interesting to me. Anyways,
I'm just happy and grateful. He likes the analytics. He's got the analytics mind. I'm super smooth brain and grateful.
Shameless plug. Obviously, I'm doing my little basketball analytics. I started another YouTube channel strictly about basketball analytics. What does it mean to be the objective greatest of all time? It's called Highly Regarded. I put in the show notes of my last video down with the underground. You guys can see it there. Maybe we'll put in the show notes here. I don't know, but it would be fun if you guys like analytics and kind of data analysis. Check that out. I have some interesting theories. Let's keep going.
That's it. We are wrapping up. That does it for this episode of the Pleb Underground Roundtable. Really appreciate all you guys joining us, especially everybody in the comments chatting with us. Man, we really, really appreciate your time, and this is super fun. I don't have anything else to. I don't really have anything to shill. Just
I already shilled mine.
Yeah, you already shilled your stuff. If but tomorrow, right? 12:10 p.m. Eastern Standard. Oh, forget about Standard Time. Just Eastern Time. I am going to be on doing, of course, the daily live. Already got a whole lot of stuff to go through. And besides that, if you want to stream us sats, you could check us out on fountain.fm. You could stream us sats there. Otherwise, we will catch you on the next roundtable. And if you are there tomorrow, I will catch you on the daily live episode. You guys have a great rest of your evening. Peace.
Take care.